Here, buddy, it's Mark again, and I hope everybody's enjoying these video sets on Cuckoo Clock for Beginners, Cuckoo Clock Repair for Beginners. Um, like I said, I already have videos out there where I'm not going to record videos on doing things. What I will do is record the video and make it one long video versus several videos now that I have a editing program. So today we're going to be talking about bellow repair. Instead of going out and buying bellow toppers, you can easily repair your own bellows. Now I use Tyvek, and I order my Tyvek off of eBay from the same person I always order it from. It comes in 20 sheets, and you cut them long ways in half, and you have enough material to do 40 bellows. It costs about $25 to include shipping. I have ordered the Tyvek material through Time Savers, but it comes folded up, and I don't like using folded up material because that fold will cause a memory in your paper, and you don't want a memory in your paper in order for the bellow to close easily. So grab something to drink, grab something to eat, kick back, take your shoes off, grab a cigarette, and stay tuned for this video presentation. Now, before I go into bellow repair, you need to understand how a bellow works. And here I have a video that explains that to you. How does it get this wonderful sound? Well, let's take it apart. Here's a bellow that has the topper off of it. You have this piece of wood right here that has to be positioned just right in order for you to get that sound. That piece of wood is called a reed. If it's not adjusted just right, you will not get that sound. Most of the time, when you blow into that hole, and I'm going to go ahead and blow into that hole now, if you don't get that sound, more than likely, this piece of wood is... And before you start repairing your bellow, you want to blow into that hole to make sure it works, or you will regret not doing that later after you put all the material on and it doesn't work. Now you'll have to experiment where to position that piece of wood in the when you're working with an antique cuckoo clock, for example. You might get bellows with the clock, and they might be in pieces. So you might have to reposition this piece of wood. I don't know if you ever put a piece of grass in between your thumbs and blow, you'll get a whistle. It's the same concept. And so we're going to break it down even further. Here's a Cuckoo bellow that I sawed in half. As you could see, there's no holes inside where you think a hole would be. What happens is the bellow air comes through here, goes around that piece of wood that I told you has to be positioned just right, but the air comes around that piece of wood, then goes through this chamber right here, and then it blows back out, and that's how you get that noise. Now this piece of wood here is for your different notes.
It's the plug.
In a cuckoo quail clock, this piece of wood would be positioned closer to the top. That way you get a higher pitch noise. The lower it goes, the deeper the sound. Now you have a high note and a low note bellow on a cuckoo clock.
When you order bellows through Time Savers, if you have to order bellows, they come in pairs, a high note and a low note, and you'll have to blow in them to figure out which one is the high note. You'll have to make them cuckoo to figure out which one is the high note and which one is the low note, to figure out which side of the clock that you have to position them in.
Typically, the high note bellow is on the right side of the clock as you're looking at the clock from the rear, and that is the note that sounds first. The low note lever would be, that piece of wood would be higher up.
It would be lower.
The cuckoo bellow.
I said it wrong.
That way you get the cuckoo, which is a higher pitch sound. So putting the pieces of wood together, I can actually glue this wood back together and put this piece of wood here on. I believe that is called the reeve. Don't quote me on that. And then I could
reed, R-E-E-D,
the rest of this, and I could actually make this bellow work again. But I was wanting to show y'all how a bellow is made and how it's designed. Again, this piece of wood has to be positioned just right, or you're not going to get any noise. The more holes you put in this, the more holes that goes in this chamber, so you're going to change the sound of that bellow. So that's why I always tell you to, when you're putting the bellow back in the case, there's typically a nail hole and a screw hole. Line those two holes back up, or you're going to change the position. You're going to change the sound of the bellow. So again, the bellow air goes through here, it goes around that piece of wood, it goes into the chamber, and then it's forced back out to get you that noise. I hope this video helps. One more thing I want to discuss is make sure that your bellow is glued down all the way around. It, like I said, I can re-glue this piece of wood and I can make this bellow complete again. So if your bellow is not working properly, first thing I would check is to make sure that it's glued down all the way.
all the way around all these sides. That's the first thing I would check. And then, if this piece of wood right here is loose, I would reposition it until you get sound. With me, when you do your blow test, make sure that your fingers are not covering up the where the air comes out, or you'd be surprised how many times I blew into a whistle and I had my fingers covered up the spot where the air comes out, so it won't make any noise. And I'm talking this spot right here. And again, make sure that it's nice and tight, and that there's no separation in all this wood. And if you're gonna glue this down, some people use hot glue, but you need to go all the way around. If you put a drop here and a drop here and a drop, it won't go all the way around. I use super glue, Loctite super glue. Sometimes I'll use Elmer's glue and I'll clamp it, but I clamp it overnight. With super glue, I clamp it for about 15 minutes, but I glue it all the way around, because if there's any exposure whatsoever, it might play some, but it won't play like it should. And like I said, when you're redoing this paper, blow into that hole, and if you don't get any sound, make sure your finger's not here. Hold it like right here. But if you don't get any sound, check this reed to make sure it's not loose. If it's not loose, check to make sure that there's no gaps in this wood. And then if it's still not making any sound, I would reposition this, because more than likely this had moved on you. And if it's not in the exact spot that it needs to be, you won't get any sound. As you can see, if I could hold this up close enough, there's a little gap behind that reed. Well, underneath that reed, I don't know if you can see that gap, but that is where the air comes out, and that's what makes the noise. You should be able to see that gap underneath that piece of wood, between that piece of wood and that plastic. Covering this hole up, you're not getting any sound. When I put my thumb over the screw hole, listen to it. You get a slight different sound. So I hope this video excited. Now I'm going to show you how I make a bellow, How you make a bellow is totally up to you. But sorry, not make a bellow, repair a bellow. I use Tyvek material. If you want to use leather Tyvek, I use the stuff that I order through eBay. If you want to use the postal shipping containers or Tyvek coveralls, that is totally up to you. There's different preps for that stuff. I've tried it. But if you want to use leather, that is up to you. But this is the way I do it. And if you use a dollar bill, I disagree with that. But again, that's up to you.
As promised, I'm going to show you how to do some bellow repair. We have two sets of bellows.
Now this is from a clock that is around 1880.
The tops are...
As you can see, the bellow itself, top is triangle. And that's how they used to do it in older clocks. It's a more distinguished sound. They do make triangular bellow tops that you can purchase through Time Savers today. And if you're repairing an antique clock, you can actually make this stuff out of wood. I've done it, but you have to know where to put the hole. I've done this out of thin plywood. You can make it yourself, but Time Saver sells this stuff. And if you're repairing an antique clock, you should put triangular shaped bellow tops on it.
Both off, but
you should also use leather that is what it came with. And some people will talk bad about your clock if it doesn't have leather material in an antique clock. But what you use is up to you. What I use is up to me.
In this case, this top does not fit here. It fits this one. So we'll put this flute to the side and work on this one. First of all, what you need to do is scrape off old material. If you don't get it all scraped off, your new material is not going to fit right. So what I like to do is take a utility knife and scrape it all off.
These videos were created
Yourself.
back when I was taking gabapentin. It messed with my concentration on what I wanted to say. I'm no longer taking gabapentin. I take pregabalin, but it still affects me.
And in this case, there is not enough bellow material on here to figure out how wide your new bellow is going to have to be. And you also want to blow into this hole to make sure it's working. Because this piece of wood here is what, with a combination of a few other things, this piece of wood here has to be in the right spot in order for you to get the sound of the cuckoo. So I'm going to go ahead and blow into this hole, and it's working perfect. But if you didn't hear any noise, more likely it's going to be this piece of wood right here. It's not in the right spot. You might have to reposition it. If it's glued down, it should be in the right spot. And the way you get the different sounds is the stomper is inside this piece of wood. It could be here, or it could be here, or it could be here, but the depending on the note that they're wanting to play, is depending on where the stopper. This is all hollow inside this piece of wood, and there's a stopper in here. So try to use the same holes. The more holes you put in this thing, you're going to change it. You're going to change the sound of it. So try to use the same holes. And of course, because you've cleaned the bottom, you got to clean the top side too. The top side has got the weight right here in it.
And I sometimes use my Dremel to clean this stuff off.
I'm going to take out this metal piece here. That's the where your wire goes. But I'm going to mark on the top of the bellow about where that wire went. Now, I like using Loctite super glue. To me, this works the best. It dries really fast. It holds. Cheap super glue will work, but it doesn't work as fast. Contact cement will work. It doesn't work as fast. I like doing things quickly when I'm working with these bellows. The first thing you got to do is make yourself a hinge. The hinge allows the bellow to go up and down. And so I cut a little piece of Tyvek paper off, and I'm going to put it onto the bottom part of the bellow first. This is after you got it all cleaned off. Rubbing across the wood a few times with my finger. Can't get your finger in there, use a flat tip screwdriver or something. And once you think that's dry,
if you don't have it all cleaned off, or in a case where the wood is different, and I told you, well, I will tell you that the super gel is the only glue that works on one particular kind of bellow that I was working on. If you don't have it all cleaned off, that hinge will just slide back and forth along the wood. It will not stick properly. Go ahead and put it on the top part. Now I'm trying to see if I can get the top paper to lift up some without damaging it, but I'm not going to be able to do that, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue this on. Make sure it's nice and even. And now we have a hinge. I'm going to go ahead and glue the rest of the paper down. I don't want to cut it off. Now, I purchased my Tyvek paper through eBay. It comes in an envelope like this. I purchased some through Time Savers, and that's what I'm working with here. It comes in a folded sheet, which I don't like. When you purchase it through Time Savers, you just go ahead and open up eBay. I'll go ahead and open up the package and show you. I think there's 20 sheets in here. They come 3 inches by 8 inches. And you cut it in half so it's 1.5 by 8 inches. Yeah, 20 sheets. And they come in this width right here. Well, this width, for most cuckoo clocks, you could cut this piece of paper down. And so instead of having 20 sheets, you don't have 40 sheets. But I could probably even use this paper for this clock here too, because I think it's going to be about the right width. And it'll give you instructions on how to use this paper. But the instructions are confusing, so that's why we do it my way. Use Tyvek coveralls. I purchased my paper. You do what you want. Next thing we're going to do, I got a piece of paper here already cut. The next thing we're going to do is
we're going to measure. We're going to wrap this thing around here until we get about where we want it on the piece that we already glued on, and that's about where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and with my pen,
you want the hinge to be less than half of the, you want the paper that you're going to glue down to have a tab that's less than half of the back of the width of the part that you just put on. For example, in this clock here, and this bellow here, you just have like a quarter of the back of the bellow, that top that fits onto the tube. The hinge is only a quarter. The more paper that you put on here, the harder it is going to be to drop. So if you line these pieces of paper up, that's all the way around the top here, it's going to put more paper back here, so it's going to be harder. It's going to have more weight back here, so it's going to be even harder to close, is what I'm getting at.
when I mark that, and then I got extra here, so I want to mark that because I want to cut it off. And I always save these extra pieces. These extra pieces can be used to make hinges. So, I'm testing it again to make sure I have enough, and then I got it marked in the right spot. I actually don't have it marked in the right spot. I'm going to remark it. When you're working with these triangle bellows, they're a little bit more difficult to deal with, and that looks good to me. So I'm going to stop this video, and in the next video we're going to glue this bellow up. Now that we got our paper cut, we got our paper marked, we got our bellow prepped, the first thing I'm going to do is glue this bottom, and I already got a hinge on it. First thing I'm going to do is glue this bottom piece right here, and I'm going to put some glue on the top piece, and I'm going to try to glue them at the same time. I'm just making marks up at the top section. Also, I don't want to get my bellow crooked. Using my Loctite super glue, I'm going to put some glue on this bottom piece here.
bottom piece is the one I'm concerned about the most right now. Trying to do this on camera is the fun part. Rubbing it down to get it on there so it's not going to move. And now I can get to the top part. Putting glue on the top part. Now I'm ready to glue the top part down. Now once you get the bottom and the top part where you want it, the rest is fairly simple. Trying to reposition my camera so y'all can see what I'm doing. I'm going to pick a side. I'm going to glue down, put glue.
Make sure you get the
both
corner
sides
of the paper also, where you first put it on.
I'm going to straighten my bellow out, and then I'm just going to fold the paper over and pull it tight, and then rub the boards.
And these triangular bellows are harder to do than your typical bellow.
I'm going to do the same thing for the other side.
And it's also harder to do
On the boards.
when the tube is connected.
Both top and bottom. I'm going to pull the paper tight, lifting my bellow, pull the paper tight. And rubbing the paper down onto the boards. For whatever reason, this side didn't stick. Maybe I didn't prep it enough. But we're going to try and put some more glue on and try it again. It stuck that time. Now that the bellow is glued, you want to push this end and squeeze it down at the same time. It's not going to give you the right sound yet because we're not completely done. We still have to tie this over. But I'm going to take my knife and cut some of this excess off first.
I'm trying to decide how pretty I want to make it. And if you have a sharp pair of scissors, that helps. But I didn't have a sharp pair of scissors.
Doing stuff on camera sometimes doesn't always work out the way you want it to. Well, there's my hinge on that side, and it's already sounding better. And so I need to cut off the excess on the bottom side now. And this is in this case, this is the harder side because the way the bellow is shaped. Tyvek material is hard to deal with as far as cutting. I tried scissors in the past. It doesn't work that well.
It does if you have a sharp pair of scissors.
If you can get a board underneath your material, and cut, it works better. But
And again, I'm dealing with an antique bellow here, so it's harder to mess with.
I'm struggling here a little bit. I don't want to mess this up. I can live with that. And now to do the top side. I can live with that. I'm just going to re-glue, put some more glue down on here, and then on this paper. The noise changed because my finger's over the hole. But I have another video out there also, and I get better. This was my first video on repairing bellows. But I wanted to show you that it is easier than what you think it is. The instructions that come with the bellow paper, to me, is confusing. In my videos, I tell you that I like using Loctite super glue to repair bellows. It seems to work the best. Now, there are some bellows out there where Loctite super glue doesn't work, and I have this glue for those bellows, which is super glue gel, and I bought this at the dollar store. Now, you can use cheaper super glue, but it doesn't work as good as the Loctite super glue. Now, if you're going to glue the bellow top onto the whistle, again, I use Loctite super glue because it's quick. I have used Elmer super glue, but you have to put the glue all the way around the whistle. If there's any air whatsoever in this whistle, it will not work properly. Now, super glue can be kind of messy. Some people use contact cement. With contact cement, it takes forever for it to dry, and that's why I use super glue. Now, this bellow here, flap is coming off, and I could take out the super glue and fix it, but I bought this stuff right here at Walmart, and it's a permanent adhesive, contains 2 industrial strength glue sticks, and I'm fixing to open one up and repair this flap just to see how well it works. It seemed to fix it properly. It seemed to do it quickly, and that's what I like. I don't like sitting here waiting forever to for this tie back to dry. When I do something, I want to do it quickly. So I might try this stuff and repairing a full bellow, because it's not going to be sticky. Again, it's on there. And this is very important. When you fold up your bellow, the sides of the paper on both sides have to go in. That way you get this X shape. If your bellow sides are not going in, it's harder for the bellow to close. And so when you are working on a bellow and it was not folded properly to start with, fold it properly and then put a clamp on it, like a rubber band or a wood clamp or whatever, and let it sit. I would suggest let it sit for at least an hour, if not overnight, because this paper gets like a memory in it, and you refolding it and clamping that will take out that memory. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video on how to repair a bellow. It's a lot easier than what you think it is. The instructions is confusing. I've had several people thank me for that video, and I'm sure they'll even thank me now because I've made it into one video. So I hope you enjoyed this video set. Stay tuned for the next video. I know what I want to do. I need to get around to doing it. So this was a quick and easy video for me to set up. And so again, I hope you enjoyed it. What materials you use for your bellow is totally up to you. Leather costs more, but if you have an antique clock and you want to sell it, I would suggest that you use leather to repair your bellows. Again, please leave me comments. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like and notification buttons, and may God bless each and every one of you.